Hello, this is a 1998 RoadTrek Dodge chassis, of course, 190 Versatile. And today we are going to look at changing the one-piece rubberized hinge that holds the baggage door on. This one is starting to tear loose here at the front. It is actually ripped clear to here. The back is also ripped clear to here. I have found a new hinge. There was another video I saw and the guy explained where he'd found the hinge. We found it online, ordered it in. It's a longer hinge than we need, but once we remove the door, we'll use the old hinge as a template to cut the new hinge and get it installed. Yeah. Okay, here's our tool list. Things you need to get around before you start on this project to change your baggage door hinge on your RoadTrek. I've got an impact driver with square drive bit and a drill. You don't need them both, but I've got both tools, so I just used them both. Utility knife with a good sharp blade, a small straight screwdriver, small hammer and a punch, a pair of pliers, tape measure, hacksaw. A set of calipers or a pretty precise way of measuring is going to come in very handy. A hand rivet tool, if you have access to a power rivet tool, air or battery, it's going to be a great help to you. It takes a lot of hand strength to put in 30 rivets with this. Rivets, they're 3/16 inch diameter rivets by 1/2 inch grip. I got Ace brand, any brand is fine, but those are the rivets you need. I had bought shorter ones and they will not work, so you have to have 1/2 inch grip range. We used a silver Sharpie to mark with, a drill index for drilling out the rivets. I used a 3/16. A few of the holes I had to ream, so I upped it to a 13/64 to ream the holes, so the new rivets fit extremely tight in the 3/16 hole, so I reamed a lot of those up a little bit. Straight razor and alcohol with some rags. That cleans off all the old silicone residue. When you change it, you want a nice clean area to seal on. Speed square. We used that when we squared up the old holes to the new holes, and we were measuring out our hole spacing so we could drill our new holes in the new hinge. I've used this on other projects on the RoadTrek. Flex Seal Paste seems to be a real good silicone-based caulk to, it's rubber silicone. Seems to really seal things up great. And they used a product, had to have been very much like this on the RoadTrek originally. All the surfaces they've sealed has been a black rubberized caulk. So this is the closest thing I found. I don't know what they originally used, but this works extremely well. So that should be the tools you need. Oh yes, and one thing definitely you need your safety glasses. You're laying on your back doing a lot of drilling on metal parts underneath, so you don't want any shavings in your eyes. So safety glasses are your most important tool. So the first thing we need to do is remove the baggage door. At the front of the baggage door on this model, some other models may differ, but at the front of the baggage door, there's this hinge, 2 screws holding it on. We'll just get the screws out of there. Like most of the other original parts on the RoadTrek, the screws they used were the square drive type screws, so almost all the original screws on this van use that type of screw. Next thing we're going to do, this hinge is riveted to the baggage door and to the body of the van, so the easiest way to take it off, just take a utility knife right here where it's already cracked, follow that crack across. We're just going to split this hinge right in half. It may take more than one cut. You may find it takes more than one cut on yours. This one, the hinge had degraded enough that it was just one cut. As you can see, we're going to have to drill all these rivets out of the baggage door. And the other side of the hinge, there's rivets up underneath there. We have to drill all those out of the body. So we're going to start working on drilling rivets out. Okay, the top part of this hinge, it has been held on with some caulking, body sealer, so I'm going to have to take my utility knife. I'm going to work from the back side, and I'm going to slowly work along here, breaking that free. It's kind of hard to see it, but no. Another point too, to make sure as you're drilling out, especially this row of rivets, use your safety glasses because you're working upside down. All these little fine metal chips you can see right here, they can very easily end up in your eyes. So once we get this cut away and freed up, I'll use the shop vac, clean my whole area up right here so you're not working in all these metal chips. This is probably going to be stuck quite well. You want to work nice and slow. Remember, you're working on an old vehicle and there's a lot of things on these you can't replace any longer. The utility knife slid underneath it all the way across the back. Just start at the front corner, work your way across. You can see the adhesive caulk they used here. We'll have to clean all that up once we get this off before we install the new hinge. But just work your way slowly along the van. You want to kind of be careful. You don't want to damage any of your pinstriping or your paint here trying to get this off. So once we get this off, we'll clean up the area so when we install the new one, we can install a new layer of caulk and seal it back up so we don't have any water in our baggage compartment. There, that's what it looks like once it's removed. Okay, just like we did on the other side, you drill out the rivet. All you're drilling on this baggage door, you want to drill very slow and very carefully. This is fiberglass. We just recently had the fiberglass redone on ours, so it looks pretty nice right now. When we remove this, it's also glued on with the same adhesive that the other part of the hinge is glued to the van body. I'm not going to try to slide a knife down along here. I don't want to damage the paint, and the back side, the way it's made, you can't get a knife. So I'm just going to start at the leading edge with my utility knife, right here at the leading edge. Be careful with your fingers, sharp blade. You get under there, there's about an inch right here. You can slide the utility knife along there and get your sealer broke loose. You don't want to use a fine screwdriver. Try to get your screwdriver worked in there, and once you get it, your beginning broke loose, it's just going to be a matter of slowly working your way down along here. There'll be pieces of rivet still there. We'll knock those out in just a minute. And we'll have to clean all of this sealer off and clean the fiberglass, because if we don't do that, it won't adhere correctly. And then you'll still have water leaks even though you've got a new hinge. There's your other half of your hinge. I didn't tell you on the first half when we removed that one, hang on to those. You want to keep these pieces of hinge right now. We're going to use those in a little bit as our template to drill the new holes in our other new hinge. As you can see, when I was drilling all the rivets out of the door side, I just drilled through far enough to pop the head off. You don't want to drill through too far and damage the fiberglass. These rivets come out pretty easy. I have a small punch, small hammer. Just have a punch that fits the rivets. You can see they come right out. to gather those up when you're done. They'll pop right out of there, so it's not a big deal. You just don't want to damage this fiberglass door. You want to be careful with it. Nothing about this whole job is particularly difficult. You just want to be nice and slow and work carefully, because like I said before, most of these things are not replaceable any longer. So okay, we've moved in out of the sun into the garage here in the shade a little while we're cleaning off the silicone on the door, and we're going to mark and cut the hinge. The best thing I found for cleaning the silicone off of this fiberglass gel coated door, just a regular straight razor blade and time. And you just start on it. Just find a spot here you can get on it, and it'll start to peel away. It takes a while, so this calls for patience, but this is the only way I've really found a good way to clean these off. You can see after a while you get to where it's peeling up, and if you don't scrape at it really hard, this fiberglass is slippery enough, the silicone will peel away after a little while just working at it. So we'll take a break here for a minute, and I'll keep cleaning on this, and we'll come back to it in a few minutes.
New plan. Scrap of wood just works as good.
Works just as good, and it won't cut your fingers off. We got all the silicone off. We're just down to the scraps here. I'm just going to grab the shop vac, give our work area a good vac here, and get all this junk out of our way. Okay, that's got everything cleaned. So now we're going to mark our new hinge and cut it. This is the half of the old hinge that came off the baggage door, and you can see it is considerably shorter than the hinge you buy when we ordered the new hinge, so we have to cut it to length. So once we figured out, we know the hinge laid on there like that. When you go to cut your new hinge, you'll notice on the hinge, the new hinge, there's two grooves in it. There's one wider set of grooves and one narrower set of grooves. That way when they pinch down and close, they cover each other, and that gives you a watertight seal. So the piece of hinge that was on the baggage door is the wider of the two grooves in the hinge. So we're going to take our new hinge with the wider groove, lay it on the baggage door. We're going to hold it in place on one end, and you can just hold it. You don't need to clamp it or anything. For this portion, we're going to take a silver Sharpie marker or another color. Can you check that in and make sure it's held tight down there against the end? Length isn't radically critical, but you want it pretty close. So you're going to take your silver Sharpie, and you're just going to put a mark right there. Just going to take a standard hacksaw, pinch the hinge together.
I'm gonna give it a good cut here. It doesn't cut very difficult. If you had a power hacksaw or a bandsaw with a wide enough throat, you'd be able to do that. Just you have to hold it down just a little bit. There. Hold it down a little more. Works way better if you got a helper. They can hold the hinge apart just a little bit and freeze up your blade so it's not sticking. My camera person is helping me to cut this. So there, nice clean cut.
You may find you need to take your utility knife like cutting anything plastic, you're going to want to trim off the fuzz here that you've got from cutting the plastic. But that was a nice cut. It cuts pretty easy. Once I get this all cleaned up, we're going to lay it up there on the baggage door. We're going to use that same silver Sharpie, and we're going to mark our holes. So we're going to do that same procedure again. Now, at this particular time, a couple of hands are pretty nice to have around. Because it takes more than one person to do this. You're going to set the baggage door up, hold it back against, and then use your silver Sharpie.
Just slid my way just a little bit.
Or whatever color Sharpie you've got available. And you're going to stick it in the hole. If you had an automatic center punch, that'll also work very well. That's how we've marked the holes. Okay, this portion of our measuring for our holes is more difficult than it was there. There's not enough room on the van body to hold the hinge up and mark with any sort of a marking tool. You've only got about 1.5 inches of space. So I have help with me. I have a lot of help. It's working out great here today. They are holding the top section of the hinge, the old hinge we cut off, with the top section of the new hinge. I'm going to take a speed square and a pencil. We're going to mark each one of these across where they are for the forward and back position. Then I've measured from the forward lip of the hinge on the old hinge to the center of the hole. We're going to come back through with the calipers on each line, and we're going to put the silver Sharpie mark on it so we can drill. That way we don't have to do a lot of drilling and adjusting at the end. Can you come this way just a little bit? Yep, that's perfect. So
Looks like we need to squeeze there in the middle. Is that okay? Is it sagging too much?
we're gonna have to, if you've got help when you go to change this, help is great. You want to mark your speed square, line your speed square up at the center of the old hole.
Oh, that's just barely marking.
And draw the line across the new hinge.
I missed one.
I know I didn't. I skipped it for your hand. Thank you. And we're going to take our Sharpie. And like I said, I measured from the inside of this lip on the old one. I took my dial caliper, measured from the edge of the old one, and it went to the center of the old hole. So we're going to do that same procedure here.
Do you need to check every hole or just go off of one?
And I checked a couple of them and they were fine. That should be the center of our holes. Okay, we've got the baggage door side of our hinge marked. We've got the van side of the hinge marked. I'm going to go ahead, drill all the holes in both sides. We're going to dry fit it to make sure that everything's lined up. And then we're going to start placing rivets. So if you've got a work table, just piece of plywood and sawhorses here. And help, once again, like I said, clamps would be fine too if you don't have help. But I have some great help today. So we're using 3/16 rivets. So I've got a 3/16 drill bit. And we're just going to drill all the holes. And then, like I said, using these 3/16 rivets, they fit right in there just like that. We'll use our pop rivet tool. It'll go right together for us. Here we've got our rivets all in. This is only our dry fit. We just wanted to make sure all the holes were lined up, all the rivets were installed before we do any caulking. We're going to take this back apart now. We're going to go back out to the van body. We're going to line things up on the van body. We're going to make sure all the holes line up on the van body also. So once we go to rivet, it's a one-shot deal. We caulk, rivet, and we're done. So we're gonna move on to that.
We gotta clean all the crap off of this too. My first 2 rivets went, I think went up.
Once you get everything, all your silicone off of here, we've got it prepped, we've got it fit. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm just using some rubbing alcohol here on a shop towel. I wanna get this all cleaned off, any remnants. We wanna have our silicone sealant adhere really well. We wanna make this a nice watertight seal so we don't have leakages into the baggage compartment. So you don't have to get too crazy with it, just a little cleanup and it'll work really well.
Probably got a nice shot of my head right in the way, don't you?
Yeah, for that part.
Okay, we've got the underside of the van all cleaned, scraped, all the holes drilled. We've dry fit it. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna lay a nice bead of silicone all the way down through here. We're gonna start at one end, riveting one rivet at a time. I've got help here to hold up the other end so we can work across the van. So we're gonna lay our silicone on it and we're gonna get started here riveting this in place.
Okay, I'll start to move down here so I got a little better purchase.
Just using it to gauge.
Well, I don't have to because there's not gonna be anything to have to gauge.
Too far. To the left.
Right there.
If you have access to a power riveter, it would be helpful. It's hard to use the hand riveter. It takes a lot of hand strength. Another rivet down.
I have a question.
Even though we dry fit everything, once we've got the silicone in and we start riveting and we actually get the strip pulled as tight as it needs to be. I still have to do just a little bit of reaming on the holes. The rivets fit so tight in the holes that I need to ream the plastic out just a little bit on the hinge. So we started at one end, we're working our way across it. I've had a couple rivets so far I've had to ream. It's just a very minor amount, but it's enough that I can't get the rivets to go through. Okay, we've got the vehicle side of the hinge installed. It's all tight, riveted, caulked. I'm gonna lay a bead of caulk across this side. This is the baggage door side, and then I'm gonna have my help come out. They're gonna hold the baggage door in place. I'll rivet it fast from the back side with my rivet tool, installing the rivets through the baggage door and riveting it fast. This is a case where unless you've really got some creative way of holding this baggage door on, you're gonna have to have two people help you, because it's gonna take me a while to get this riveted fast. So it is a definite three-person job here, just so you don't end up breaking the baggage door or having any trouble. So
Are you gonna do one at a time down there? Oh, that one right on. It seems a little high here.
it's all right.
I think they went in unless I pushed them through.
Okay, Teen, can you just
Oh, that one did. That one.
It's all right, it's all right. If Teen can just put a hand on here, or we can come to there.
Okay.
Okay, we've got all the rivets placed for the baggage door itself. The last thing we're going to do, we've got to put the hinge lock on, so when we raise up the baggage door, it stays up for us. So that's what I'm going to do right now, put the screws back in. And we should have this job buttoned up for the day. Okay, we're going to set the electric cord back in, and we're going to make sure everything closes correctly. I'll sweep this all out again, clean this all up as soon as we're done here, but just want to make sure it'll close.
That's some silicone that squeaks out.
There is our new baggage door hinge installed. Got a little silicone I've got to wipe off right there, but it's installed and in good shape. Thank you folks for watching this video today as we changed out the baggage door hinge on our 1998 RoadTrek 190 Versatile. I will have a link in the description where I purchased this hinge from, so if you need to replace your baggage hinge, you can purchase one online. Thank you for watching this video and have a great day.